Imagine you're lying in bed, lights off, phone 6 inches from your face. You open your banking app, mostly out of habit, mostly out of low-level anxiety. And there it is, $20,000. For the first time, your savings starts with a 2 and has 4 zeros after it. You stare at it. You feel calmer, taller, slightly untouchable. You immediately start upgrading your life in your head. Maybe a better apartment, maybe a real vacation, maybe a car that doesn't sound like it's asking for help. Here's the part nobody tells you. The moment you look safe on paper, the world changes. Your bank suddenly thinks you're premium. You're pre-approved for higher limits. You're offered metal credit cards. Your investing app suggests margin and advanced tools. Translation: you now look profitable. And here's the irony. About 37% of adults wouldn't be able to cover a $400 emergency from cash alone. Just reaching $20,000 already puts you ahead of a huge portion of people. That's why it feels like a finish line. But it's not a finish line. It's level 2. And this is where most people quietly lose. Quick pause. If this is your first time here, welcome to Calvin Invests. We break down how money really works without the fluff. If you find this useful, subscribe and share. Now let's get back. Why getting there felt so hard? Getting to $20,000 is brutal. You cut back, you skip trips, you sell stuff, you maybe pick up extra work. Your savings crawl from $300 to $2,000 to $8,000. Then life shows up. Transmission dies, medical bill arrives, rent goes up with a cheerful email, back down you go. That's not you being bad with money, that's math. The personal savings rate in recent years has hovered around 4 to 5%. Decades ago, it was roughly double that. Most people aren't saving much margin. So when you claw your way to 15K, 18K, 20K, it feels massive. You think, I made it. But if you treat $20,000 like a destination, you end up on a roller coaster. Up to 20,000, down to 7,000, back to 18,000, down again. Repeat for years. You didn't fail, you just never set a rule about how low you're allowed to go. What actually changes at $20,000? Two things flip. First, your brain. You move from please don't let anything explode to annoying but manageable. That buffer reduces stress immediately. You can think clearly again. Second, the system notices. Banks don't make money from people with zero. They make money from people who look stable and slightly confident. Suddenly, higher limits, auto loan offers, premium cards, exclusive funds. It feels like a reward. It's really a test. Because once you remember how awful it felt when your balance was $20, not $20,000, you want to loosen up. And psychologically, that makes sense. But compounding only works if you stop pulling the money out. When the math starts helping you. At $2,000 invested, a 10% year earns you $200. Nice, but not life-changing. At $20,000, that same 10% earns you $2,000. Now you feel it. The second $20,000 comes faster than the first because the first pile is finally working. This is where compounding stops being motivational wallpaper and starts becoming real. But if you dip into the pile every time something shiny appears, the math never gets traction. It's like planting a tree and digging it up every few months to check if it's growing. The identity trap. There's another shift. For months, maybe years, you were disciplined. You packed lunches, skipped upgrades, ignored random online purchases. Then you hit $20,000 and think, I'm good with money now. So you relax. Better dinners, nicer apartment, a few subscriptions. Nothing outrageous. That's why it's dangerous. Your fixed costs quietly drift upward until your margin shrinks again. You're not stressed about survival anymore. Now you're stressed about maintaining the upgraded life. Different stress, same vulnerability. The upgrade most people miss. Once you hit $20,000, stop thinking of it as savings. Think of it as a floor. A line you don't cross downward unless it's a real emergency. Everything above that line, that's where growth and enjoyment live. Investments, career moves, trips, calculated risks. But the floor stays intact. Because life does get easier after $20,000. You're not panicking over a flat tire, you're not one bad week from overdraft. You can think beyond survival. But whether life keeps getting easier depends on what you do next. If phase 1 was escaping chaos, phase 2 is resisting drift. $20,000 isn't the victory. Protecting it long enough for it to start buying you options, that's the win. And once you do that, you stop being easy to sell to, which is exactly why your bank doesn't love it.